Alright guys, the question is, a snowboarder skis down double black diamonds. He leaves the hill going 12 meters per second with a constant rate of, a constant acceleration of 0.7 meters per second squared for 80 seconds. What is his average speed and distance traveled? Alright, so down here I wrote my known values, except to your left. Acceleration being 0.7 meters per second, time being 80 seconds, and my V1 being 12 meters per second. So, to find the V average, since we have a constant acceleration of 0.7 meters per second squared, I can use the formula V average is equal to V1 plus V2 over 2. But to do that, I have to find my V2 first. So what I'll do is I'll plug in the numbers to the acceleration formula. So I have my A is equal to V2 minus V1 over time. So I want to find my V2. So the first thing I did here was I multiplied both sides by delta T to get delta T on this side. So now I have delta T times acceleration is equal to V2 minus V1. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add V1 to each side so I can get V2 by itself, which now I have V2 is equal to V1 plus delta T times acceleration. And then I end up plugging in my numbers. I have 12 meters per second, which is the V1 plus 80 seconds times 0.7 meters per second squared, which gives me my V2, which is 68 meters per second squared. From here, I plug in 68 meters per second squared to, well, I kind of mixed it up, but the 12 meters per second squared being the V1, and then the V2 being the 68 meters per second over 2. And I calculate that, and it gives me 40 meters per second as the average. All right. The next thing it asks us is to find the distance traveled. So what I did here was I just did position over time pretty much, which is delta x over delta t. And what I did here was I brought delta t to both. I multiplied both sides by delta t to get delta t times v average equals my position or my distance. So now I just plug in 80 seconds for time, multiply that by my v average, and it gives me 3,200 meters.